Hey, welcome back to an episode of Instagram Podcast. I'm your host, Juan, and as always, my co-host here with me. Hey, Trip.
Hey, man. You're looking
doing?
so good. I'm so jealous.
Stop it.
Look at you over there being beautiful. Hey, this week we're talking about BNA. You guys know it. Breaking and Entering. Netflix edition. It's the new anime from Trigger on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. I think it came out earlier, but we just recently got it all as one chunk here in the United States.
True.
That's how Netflix likes to treat us. So yeah, I've been wanting to watch this for a bit, and when it finally dropped, I was like, great, what a perfect time to drop. When we have a bunch of stuff we want to talk about.
There's so much shit. Like, I want to talk about Japan Sinks so bad, but I haven't watched it yet because I want that one to be really fresh. After watching BNA, like, knowing about it, I thought it was going to stay in my mind pretty good because it looked very stylized and very Trigger, and I'm like, that shit always stays up in here, and so far it has. I think that will stand true for the show, and that's my opinion on it. It'll stay in your head.
It'll stay in your head. Okay, yeah, cool. Sure. I will talk about it later. I did enjoy it, and we'll talk about things we enjoyed. It's not a perfect show. Everything can always be better, so you will get to it. We'll talk a little bit about it and then get around to spoiling it. It's short, though. It's like 12 episodes. Like
short and sweet. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Everybody has Netflix. So, man, what's up with you? I know that you were telling me earlier that you've been up to literally jack shit.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, got my big got my big promotion. So been managing Villarisa for a few days now. We are in desperate need of help. Everything is falling apart.
Everything's on fire.
I don't know where my last two leasing agents went. They're just gone. They disappeared.
One ate the other one, and that one then drowned.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. So I would say that's kind of the biggest thing that's been up. It's just taking on a new role at my job. It's not very different. It's just like a couple more things that I have to do. So not a lot changes. And then personal life has just been video game central since our last episode with Crunchyroll. Just Monster Hunter, you know? Monster Hunter came out with a big update, fighting the Elatrion. It's a black dragon that has control over all the different elements in the game. And it's super goddamn hard and super goddamn satisfying. Played it for about 6 hours or so, maybe. Probably a little bit less. Did a little bit of prep beforehand. We wound up not winning that night. Things went wrong.
Whose fault was it? Call them out right now.
It was everyone but Sam's fault, so myself and Kyle.
Well, Sam is the MVP, and I'm not surprised Kyle's been slacking. You know, he hasn't been, doing his reps. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we played a little bit more Monster Hunter the next few days. Kyle played with Sam the next morning when I was at work, and they beat it. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Wait, hold on,
it's fine.
That means you were the problem. It wasn't Kyle. I'm sorry. I take that back, Kyle. Obviously, the person holding everybody back was Trip. So
Damn. Then, a couple of days go by, and I've been working this whole time. And then I did the night before I beat it with Sam. I spent, I don't remember, 7 hours or so playing it because, like I said, it has control over all the elements, which means we need a bunch of elements in order to deal with it. So with 3 of us, a lot better. With 2 of us, I needed new shit to replace what Kyle was doing. So I spent 7 hours like getting all this and fucking taking forever, forgetting the fight, not having the momentum. It's like 4 days since I last fought this thing. And then I went out with Sam, and after 4 attempts, we did it. And I felt like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. I got to relearn it. And then the last 2 felt like genuine attempts versus just like relearning everything. It was fun. It was hella fun. Easily my favorite fight in the game. Elatrion looks sick as fuck. The fight feels really fluid. Everything feels like it's totally fair. There are a lot of different hitboxes and whatnot in Monster Hunter where you'll get clipped and you'll just get fucking nuked and there's nothing you could do. This fight felt so clean. Like they really worked on making the hitboxes perfect. Had an amazing time. So much fun. So as soon as I get a little bit of free time, I'm going to try to hit up one of our fans here and
play with them.
Yeah, and jam with them, dude.
What was the name of them thing? I want to look up what it looks like.
Alatreon. It's
Alatreon.
Alatreon.
Okay, cool.
Alatreon.
How many? Okay, so I want to play a game because we talked about this. Oh wow, this thing does look fucking massive.
Dude, yeah, it's
Holy
huge.
shit.
It's so much fun. And then it has this move where it just like, it's a hard DPS check, so you need to do a certain amount of elemental damage, and then it does this giant explosion of the elements. And if you're able to knock it down and make it tired before it does that, then it does less damage to you. So anyways, it blows up the whole arena. It's insanely powerful, and it's like stronger than any other dragon in the game. Like in the lore of the game, it's like the peak, you know?
I know you said that this monster has all the elements. Don't tell me what they are. Just tell me how many they are. I want to see if I can remember them.
Okay, hang on.
You're trying to get to count them all because it's right in the game, yeah.
Okay, so we got that one and that one and that one.
Closing
and
my eyes.
That one and that one, and the other ones are those, and that's that. I want to say that this one counts as 5.
So there's 5 elements.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I know, obviously, start off the bat, dragon. That's the hard one, right? We talked about that. Dragon's
That's
an
a tricky
element.
one. That's a secret one.
Okay. So fire element, water.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what do you need to call? Maybe like earth.
Nah, you're an idiot. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard. No.
Okay. Hold on.
It's not in there, but yeah.
Okay. Fire, water. Is ice one?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so why not just have it up? It's okay. Okay, so one more. I want to say it's like something like earthy based, but it's not earth. Is it plant?
Ooh, no.
Is it grass?
Oh, no way, dude. Not even close.
Damn. Okay. All right.
Let me help you out.
Is it air?
No. Let me help you out a little bit. Okay. So think Avatar, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are
Lightning.
only 2 elements actually. You know, dragon.
Dragon
Dragon
fire,
is,
which,
kind of the fire element, and then fire, and then lightning, all within the same one. And you got ice and water, which are in the other one, so you got 2.
Yeah, okay. I remember it was something goofy like that. Like, why wouldn't you just have like, why isn't water and ice just the same thing, right? And like, why isn't fire and lightning the same thing? Like, no. Separate branches. Fuck earth, fuck plants, fuck wind.
Mean, it makes sense. They're not elements, but they're like typings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called elements in the game and whatever. But yeah, that's why I'm like, well, there are also like, sleep weapons and paralysis weapons, and there are blast weapons and poison. It's got all this different kind of shit. But yeah, so we played the fuck out of that, wound up beating it. It was super satisfying, and I want to play it more, honestly. It was just too much fun. And then I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake a little bit.
It's not going to play itself. You got to get to it, man.
Took a good hard break from that a while ago because, I don't know, other shit's going on. Whatever, who cares? And getting back at it, immediately I'm reminded why I loved the game so much. Gorgeous, fun characters, stupendous gameplay. It just feels like it's constantly going and you can't get off this goddamn ride. So I just kept playing it. And then I'm like, oh, this was a cool kind of different challenging boss for the first time in the game. I like that. And then go into more and more little side quest things, more story stuff. And I'm like, okay, at the end of this chapter, I got to call it a night. It's like almost midnight. And then it was like, all right, so just go down this hole and you could go back home. And I'm like, perfect. I'll jump into the hole and that's where I'm going to save and quit. And then it was like, all right, go jump down the hole. Never mind. There's a whole fucking thing going on and you're about to jump in when there's like a chocobo with this like carriage behind it. And then in the carriage is Tifa dressed up like a like fancy Chinese, like exotic dress type thing. So immediately I'm like, well, I want to see what that is. So I'm playing a little bit more, and then I'm going to go to bed. But I'm introduced with, or you could fight a fat chocobo. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fight a fat chocobo. Big old chicken boy, slamming it down, shoots like firecrackers at you and does giant bouncy things. It's dumb. I like it. So I had a really good time with that. And I think that's all the gaming that I've done. A little bit of Aminals Crossings. But mostly it's been work, and there's nothing super special to tell you about work other than that Big Mosh, dude.
Big Mosh.
Big Mosh! Yeah. What's been going on with you? What's your life? You've got like real things going on.
It's been really chill. I mean, besides finding out those relatives of mine got sick. Did we talk about that? Was that before the podcast?
That was before the podcast.
Okay, good. I found out that a few of my relatives from Vegas got the coronavirus.
Yeah.
They're all doing okay. I mean, they're not dead. I don't know. They're fighting the virus, which is like hard, right? So it's like, but it affects people differently. It's like they have good days, they have bad days. So that was kind of shitty to find out. But like I was telling you before the pod, I was like, one of them got all the other ones sick. He wasn't very careful, and he should feel bad. He shouldn't have done what he did, and now that his family members are sick, and hopefully they all get better, and hopefully they all learn. Especially this one that they should be more responsible about
shitty situation.
What they're doing. Yeah, so that was shitty. Besides that, man, it's like I haven't been doing crazy too much crazy stuff. Like we're staying home, doing fun stuff. This past Monday was Cierra and I's 1 year anniversary for our wedding.
Woo! So we made it a year.
Made it a year, which was really nice. The last few days have been super cool. Like we just kind of been hanging out, watching shit on TV. I was telling you, we playing this like weird card game that she bought that kind of prompts you to like answer questions, and like they're really they feel like they're written very well. Like, well, you can go as deep as you want, you can kind of go as superficial as you want, but like because some questions are like really like thought provoking. Like, what is something what is a mistake you keep what's something you keep doing wrong that you haven't fixed or whatever, or like what was like one of my favorite questions was like what was an average day of your life when you were a child. And so Cierra and I picked like a specific day.
That first one age. I would have to sit on it, but then that child one, I think that's the
child one was really fun. I was just like, yeah, because then I was remembering myself like okay, it's like, so we're like Sierra's like, she picked a range, and I was like, cool, we'll say Saturday, we'll say a weekend, Saturday and Sunday, when I was like 10 when I was like 10 years old. And I was like, and so then I was going back trying to remember like how it was, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I haven't thought about this in so long. So it's really fun.
So tell me about your weekend as a child.
No, I'm not. It's really long, because a lot of it was
long.
Like, it was at 10. A lot of it involved church stuff, and I was like, so I was like stuff I hadn't really thought about, and I guess me and Cierra hadn't really talked about. Cierra told me about like one of her days, and I picked like a specific day, and she was like, she was really into soccer, so it was like stuff. So she was like, have to go train with this person, then do this, and then train with that person. And I was like, oh fuck, it's crazy. Like I never would have fucking thought. But yeah, so it's been really fun. Because it prompts Cierra and I to talk about things that maybe we wouldn't talk about. We talked about drugs. That was fun.
Yeah, you're a big druggie now, huh?
Cierra is a huge fiend, and she's been hiding it for years. So that was fun for her to come clean about her addiction.
What's she got, man? Is she hooked on the shuggies?
Bro, she's got it all. Ugh. It's pretty dope though, because I also have it all, and I'm super stoked that we can now share needles together. That way we can be cost efficient.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Speaking of needles, Cierra and I were hoping to do something like get like couples massage for our like,
this was similar to a massage. Yeah,
that's what we like had originally planned. Like we'll do like a couples massage, or like go to some sort of like what's it called, like a spa day. Like that's what we wanted to do before everything kind of fucking started shutting down and being super shitty because of coronavirus. So it's like, well, we can't do that. There are places, at least where we were at, that had been opening up. They do massages, but they're like, yeah, we don't really do couples massages anymore. Like you can come in and get your massage, and you can come in right after you. It's like, I'm like, that really defeats the purpose of having a couples massage. Like then we're just getting massages. So we didn't do that. And then like, we're spinning like, what can we do? And Cierra said maybe get a tattoo. I was like, I like tattoos. I was like, all right, we'll get a tattoo. So we got matching tattoos. And they're not, I don't think it's matching. They're couples tattoos. They're like song lyrics from the song from our first dance when we got married. And yeah, it's really simple on our arm. It was nice. It was super quick. It was like less than half an hour that we were like there or whatever. And like we wore our mask. The tattoo guy wore his mask, and we talked about it. And he's like, how you doing? He's like, He goes, he goes like, sucks, you know, things are probably going to shut down again. And this is how I make money. He's like, dude, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. And he goes like, yeah, I was like, but I understand. He's like, you know, got to be safe. It's like, cool, got to be safe. So, but that was fun. We got the tattoos, and then I think that same day, like, the governor announced like, hey, we're taking steps back. We're shutting shit down. I was like, well, glad we got that taken care of. So it was fun. I was glad that even though like, it's not as easy to do things you want to do right now, that Cierra and I were able to make the best out of our, you know, 1 year anniversary and do something we want to do, something we can remember for the future. So that was super cool. Yeah, and I think another really cool thing this weekend, like I made eggs and sausage, and Cierra broke out the waffle maker, and we had waffles.
Hell yeah,
bro! Waffles are so good, dude. Like I feel like they don't get enough respect. People always talk about pancakes.
Fuck pancakes. I don't give a shit about pancakes. Get out of my face. But if you're gonna give me some pancakes, I'm also down for that. But like, you know, fuck pancakes though. I'm a waffle man. Always have been, always will be. I
think waffles are just better. They're superior. They're crunchier. Yeah. You know, they got the little fucking.
They got the divots, dude. You can cleanly cut that shit. None of this bullshit. I'm gonna make a triangle, and then it winds up being too short. All mushy. And no, fuck that. We're waffle. The Instant Ramen Podcast is a waffle podcast.
Waffle podcast for sure. Circle or square?
It doesn't matter, but square to me is where it's at personally.
I'm a circle boy, bro.
Nah, it's too similar to pancakes.
No,
I strongly
cut into pizza. I strongly
firm stance, vehemently despise pancakes.
It's so funny. No, because Cierra and I, we got it for, I don't know, someone gave it to us as a wedding gift. Yeah, I really should know who that way could feel more. I'd feel like more like I could say thank you to them, but I don't know who it is. It was me. No, it wasn't. You got us a vacuum, you son of a bitch.
Did I? Is that what I got you?
Yeah, you got us a vacuum. Really dope vacuum, by the way.
I don't remember shit.
No, so Sierra's like talking about like what we want on the registry, and I was like, Sierra's like, do you like waffles or like your pancakes?
You
and
like I was like, waffle?
And I was like, waffles. I was like, okay, cool. You want a waffle maker? And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. I didn't know we could ask for that. And then she goes, so asked me if I want a waffle maker, instantly knew an answer. Like, absolutely. She goes, circle or square? And I was like, I don't know. And I literally took a day on it.
Yeah.
It took me a whole day, and then I was like, next day I was like, circle. Let's go circle. I'm going circle. And I understand that. I respect your square. I was talking to Ryan about it earlier. It's a friend of ours, and he was just like, nah, man, I'm all about that square. I was like, dude, I'm sorry, bro. Like,
no, do you want to know my actual reason that I like square?
Okay, why?
It feels more homemade.
Does it?
Yeah, because Eggos are circular.
Okay.
So in my head, it's always, ever since I was a little kid, it's always been associated with like, yeah, the frozen ones, those are Eggos. And if you get the big square ones, those are like legit from a restaurant. They're like the real shit, you know?
But
how do you make anything wrong?
Yeah, it's the same. But waffles are just made on a waffle iron, right? Like that's how they make them, right? So it's just a square iron versus a circle iron, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so like they're both homemade, whether it's square or circle. Do you just used to because you're so used to
it's always just it's not me as an adult. This is something that's been in me as a child. Like that's been in my head.
You go, that's circle? Like fuck that. That's that pre-made shit.
Yeah, it's some like childlike shit. And I'm like, realistically, I don't have an opinion because that's what adults would do. They're like, circle is square. I'm just trying to eat the waffle, dude. Shut the fuck up. Like, you know.
Okay, well, that's a real grown man cares. Okay, and I respect your choice to be square. I'm a circle waffle guy. Okay, that's who I am. You have to get used to it.
I'm used to it. No problem with that. I think that circular looks better for pictures and stuff.
Ooh, yeah. They all have their benefits.
You get more waffle with square.
You get more of it.
You get more of it.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, because the edges aren't cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's honestly been it. Besides that, like I've been doing like some animations and just kind of watching stuff on Netflix and stuff. Cierra and I finished Raising Dion, which was that like Netflix original. I think it's like co-produced by Michael B. Jordan about like a boy who has superpowers and his mom has to figure out how to deal with them. We started a long time ago and then kind of dropped off it, and we've recently picked it up to kind of continue it and finish it. Man, I did not see the ending the way it was going to end. Okay, like I was like, that's the bad guy? What? I was like kind of like, oh, and it felt like, and I was like, I remember this being like really surprised, and I'm like, wow, I'm so dumb. Like, why didn't I see that? And I was just like, that's pretty good. It's actually pretty well written. I think the hardest thing about it is honestly, like, I think Dion, the character of Dion, is a child. Like, he's very young, and he's not the best actor. Like, he's supposed to be in second grade. How old are you in second grade? 8? Yeah, 8.
7 or 8.
I think he looks like he's younger than that. And like he has other characters that are like in the show that are also the same age, like classmates. And I feel like these kids are, I think, a little older because maybe their faces looks more formed. Like, you know, like they're not as like, they don't have like that baby face still. And they're better actors. I'm like, okay, these are like really good these are good child actors. Our main character, not the best child actor. Not to talk mad shit, but because I'm like, he still did a good job. His mom, also not the best actor. You know, she's like, it's time to cry. I was like, oh, bro, come on.
So you might want to watch Erased instead.
Yeah, she just watched Erased instead.
Yeah.
But I was fairly entertained. I really enjoyed it. There's like some pretty good special effects. Like I said, like I didn't see the twist or whatever. It's a little older. There's probably other stuff out there that you can watch, but we liked it. We also started watching Hannibal, that I know is a show that people really liked back when it was airing, and it got canceled too soon. Yeah, and Cierra and I started watching that. I was like, this is pretty good. Like,
yeah, it really. Oh, it's so pretty. I want to eat that food. I want to fuck that food. You know, it's gorgeous. Holy shit!
Every time he cooks, I'm like, oh man, that looks good. I'm like, oh, that's people. He's eating people.
Dims is people.
Dims is people.
But you never know the Dims is people.
Yeah,
but you know the Dims is people.
I always love the people that are like they're eating with him. They're just like, this is delicious. Yeah. What is this? He goes, pork tenderloin. You know, like I was like, no, it's not. No. We got the episode where there's that one guy that's like growing mushrooms out of people. It was really fucking gross. I was like, this is nasty.
Yeah, man, it's a gnarly show, but it's gorgeous, and like it's really interesting too. The dynamic between the main characters is just really interesting to follow.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. Like when the show started, I was like, the main character was there, and he's like, "Ah, man, like, God, I'm so fucking troubled, and I need people." And I was like, "Are you Hannibal? Is this Hannibal?" No. And I was like, "Why is this guy Hannibal?" And then I was like, and then Hannibal shows like, "Oh, that's Hannibal. That guy right there is for sure Hannibal, without a doubt."
The other guy is a weird thing,
sociopath.
Man.
Yeah, he's like helping the FBI, and they're like both talking to him. I was like, "Wow, you guys are both fucked, but one of you's a little more fucked than the other one."
But like they're like friends, but they're outsmarting each other on accident.
It's very like Light and L from, you know, Death Note.
Yeah.
It's that mind checkers, man. Yep. Mind chess checkers. It's that mind chess.
I can't believe it. I just hopped Hannibal. King me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we hope to continue watching that and, you know, enjoy it. I remember I mentioned this off pod, but there's a reality TV show that Cierra and I watched called The Challenge, and there was a contestant that said some pretty insensitive things about Black Lives Matter, and MTV decided to cut ties with her. They said, hey, we will no longer be casting her in future shows. She will not be part of the live reunion. But she was still in the show. And I was telling you that, like, I was really entertained by how they managed to edit around not seeing her. And it slowly became one of my favorite things to watch every week, because it was like, how are they gonna get away with getting rid of this bitch? Like, making her, she's still a part of the game. She still has a vote. She still competes in challenges. She even won one. She even won a challenge the second time at the second episode after. I was like, she's gonna have to say things. They're gonna have to shoot the camera at her at some point. So so that I've slowly been enjoying it more, because I was just like, not only is this a show that I do like to watch.
Yeah, now you have like a game inside the show for yourself.
Yeah, now they have to figure out how to make it so you don't see this girl. And I'm just like, they cut her right there. I'm just like pointing at the TV. She finally got voted off. She lost. She got eliminated this past week. And I was like, so in one case, I was like, good. I'm glad she doesn't win the money. She's, you know, that was a really shitty thing she said. But then on the other side, I was like, fuck, there goes my fucking game. I was having so much fun watching, you know, this
big
fucking
damn
TV.
Dude. That sucks.
Yeah, but it was okay. That's it, man. Besides that, the only other thing that I've been watching is anime, so we can save that for anime talk if you'd like.
Well, I watched Close Enough, which is the new show on HBO Max by the dude who did Regular Show. I didn't like Regular Show when it was out, but I didn't dislike it. It was just one of those things that would come on and I didn't really care about, and I would watch it here and there, and it was fine. But there was something that never really clicked for me. I felt like it was all the moments where it really did feel like a kid's show. I couldn't get into it. And I don't know if it's because that's just the way that it wound up developing or what, but I was never, in it from the start.
I'm sorry, you did watch the shorts he did before that, right? The 2 in the AM PM and the
yeah, I did, where it was adult.
Yeah, I think we watched that in school at some point, didn't we? I mean, I know I watched it in class. I for sure played it in Mrs. Carey's creative writing class at some point. But you've seen it.
No.
And
I've seen it. I've seen them for sure.
I really enjoyed those. Like, those are really good. And I did like early Regular Show. I quickly grew out of it and became very formulaic. So I get what you're saying about this. I heard that guy made a new show. What's it on?
Close Enough on HBO Max.
Can't watch it. No got HBO.
Bummer, dude.
Damn it.
It's time to get it, I guess, because they got anime on there. Yeah, man. I went into it kind of not expecting a whole lot, and I came out of it really enjoying the show and wishing that there was more. It's only 8 episodes right now, but they are, half-hour long episodes, and I liked the characters a lot. I liked what the show had going on. Just this couple that have a kid, and they're living with their friends that are divorced. So it's got like some weird dynamics here and there, but it winds up being these fun adventures that they wind up going on.
More adult though, right? You said?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely more adult. I think they say fuck and shit a lot. So anyways, it's a super fun show. I definitely recommend it to people that liked Regular Show. Other people that, were on the fence about Regular Show, probably going to like it as well. It just feels like not very serious animation, and it's just a lot of fun. I don't know. It's just a good time. There's so much animation out there right now that's really, really good, high quality stories. And I guess I'm not in the mood for shit like that right now, man, because this was right up my alley. And then after I was done with it, I sat on it for a minute and I was like, I want more, but I don't know where to get something similar. So what I liked so much about Close Enough is that they had all these very weird, fun, wacky situations that I feel like they just got exponentially stranger as like each episode goes on. I wanted that feeling of like the weird, strange shit happening. So I decided that I wanted to get inspired and see like all this weird stuff with Adventure Time, because I stopped watching that at some point. So I'm kind of starting over from scratch and getting through Adventure Time, having a really good time with it. I forgot about how much I liked the dialogue with the characters. So yeah, story doesn't really matter at all in Adventure Time up until a certain point, and that's when it all matters. So right now it's still at the point where it's just like weird shit's happening. There's really fun dialogue, and I don't really care about what's actually happening in the episodes. I just want to hear that like fun little line here and there, or like see some extra detail in the background that makes me laugh pretty hard, like the Ice King having #1 like best mom on his drum set, like whatever it was. Fucking hilarious. Or like #1 babe or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was just damn funny. So yeah, I'm going through that. I don't think that there's any other like TV stuff that I'm really watching. I'm trying to think, but I talked about Search Party last week, right?
We did, yes.
Yeah, that's a good fucking show.
It is #1 babe, by the way.
#1 babe, that's what it is. Thank you for looking it up. Fact checker Juan. So you want to talk about anime?
Yeah, for sure. I
don't have any to talk about. Just a heads up.
I have one specifically to talk about, and I know I hinted at it before we, I think before we recorded our special episode with our boy Miles Thomas, that I really wanted to talk to you about for this week, which was the Adventures of Tom Sawyer, which is a 1980 anime that only lasted a year, and it ran for like 49 episodes.
Yeah.
It's something that I have been watching recently because when I was younger, my mom bought some sort of like VHS that had several episodes mashed together. And I always thought growing up that it was just like a movie. And later it wasn't that I found out that it was actually a TV series that just chunked episodes together, and like they kind of sold it that way. So super stoked because I finished it. I finally finished it.
Hell yeah.
But there's some shit that happened that I was like, I have to write this down. I have to make sure to talk to Trip about it. Okay, so here we go. Ready? The first biggest thing that I just like in my notes, it says fucking shit, dude. Like stuff got real. So season 3, episode 8 starts. And it's a man that's running through the forest or the woods or whatever, and he's been shot, and he's a black man, and he makes his way to Tom Sawyer's house, and he's looking for Jim, which I've never read the Adventures of Tom Sawyer, like the book or Huckleberry Finn or whatever, but I know Jim's a part of the story. And I had a feeling like, yeah, Jim is probably their slave, but in the show, he's never called that. It just, and then they kind of make it seem more like he's just like a helping hand that lives with them, in like his own little cabin. But this is very clear, like, this guy's like just running away from whatever owners that he has, he like ambushes Tom, and he's just like, I'm looking for Jim. And he says something like, he covers his mouth and says like, hey, like, don't scream. I'll have to like break your neck. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? I was just like,
man.
Yeah, like, this shit got so intense.
Yeah, it's the start of an episode.
This is the start episode, yeah. And so he's like, I promise I won't scream. He goes to get Jim, and Jim patches him up. And, they're talking, and he's like explaining like, hey, what happened? He's like, I did this, I messed up this. And I was like, I couldn't take anymore. I ran away. I'm trying to make it a freedom. And he's like, okay, we'll make it here. And then, Jim makes Tom promise like, hey, don't say anything. I need your help to like build him a raft and eventually get him out of town, safely. And Tom's just like, yeah, absolutely. So then Tom goes to bed, and like a lot of these, like an older show, like Tom is the narrator. So he has like monologues and stuff, or narration and stuff. And he says, it says, let's see, I read somewhere, like, so in Tom's narration, like he says he has a greater appreciation for his freedoms, like even though he's never really thought about Jim as his Aunt Polly's slave, he very clearly is, and so I was like, fuck me, like this sucks. Like I was like, I didn't know. Well, I knew, like I had a feeling, but it wasn't super prominent. So that whole episode is dealing with like trying to safely get this guy to safety, and like we see other Black people who are in part of the community who are other slaves, and how they come together, and they decide to bury this. I guess someone passed away, like an older Black man passed away, so they went to go bury him, and then they made the lie that it was like, hey, we're actually burying this slave that we found, And so then the people who are chasing the slave come to town, and they're just like, we're looking for this guy, and, and then they're like, yeah, we found him, and we did the only thing we buried him, in the Black graveyard, and there's like, well, we got to dig him up. And they're like, we're not going to dig him up. Like, that's not what you do. And so then he's like, you guys can do it if you want. So these guys are like, he's like, okay, dig him up. And the guy's just like, I'm not digging up a grave, like slave or not. Like, I'm not going to desecrate like a burial, It's like, well, what are we going to do? He's like, let's just go back home and tell the boss that we killed him. He's just like, all right, And so then they do that, and they're able to build a raft and, save the slave. And it's just like, oh my God, like
that's
that whole episode.
That whole
episode was really like this is it really took me off guard, because like most of the show is very, it's very kid friendly. It's very like, here's the lesson that I learned, or like sometimes there's not even a lesson. Sometimes it's just like them doing stupid, like dumb shit because they're like, he's Tom Sawyer.
And this one's just a goddamn reality check. Like, yeah, it was shit happened, dude.
Yeah, it was super crazy to be like, oh, that's right, like. This piece of media is based in this time where slavery is still a thing, and our main character, isn't a Black man. So he's like a white dude who has his slaves. Like, oh, fuck. I know that right now there's a lot of things, like there's a lot of shows that are comedy shows, right, that are removing episodes or scenes where there is really large blatant racism, like blackface and stuff like that, This is an old show, like I said, and I don't think, because like the way it ends, it is a positive light. Tom is just like, like I respect Jim, and I hope one day he does make it to freedom. Like even himself, he wants his own slave, like his aunt slave, to make it away. It's like, so like I feel like deleting this episode, like if you removed it from like circulation, it's not like it's not gonna, because then you're trying to erase something that happened, right? Trying to like, as opposed to educate people or acknowledge that this is a thing, and and you learn from it and you don't continue it, as opposed to being like, we're just going to pretend slavery never happened and remove this episode. Like, that's not going to solve things. Like, no. I'm just saying, like, deleting episode 3 of episode 8 of season 3 of Tom Sawyer's isn't going to change things. But it's kind of weird that this old show handled it so, I don't know, like, appropriately. I feel like they did a really good job.
It's a really sensitive, important topic to not absolutely like mess up. You need to make sure it's carefully handled and written well. And it's crazy that they were able to do that with a weird old anime.
Yeah, an old anime from the
Tom
1980s. Sawyer. So I was like, holy shit. Because, I mean, like I said, I haven't read Tom Sawyer, but I do know that it is, I'm pretty sure it's Mark Twain that wrote it. So, like, there's for sure, like, language that maybe today isn't, appropriate in there. And, like, it's for sure more realistic, even though it's like an adventure book or whatever, like a kid's book. So I was like, wow, okay, so these Japanese people in the 1980s were able to, like, take that source material and, like, handle this topic appropriately. And, like, and there aren't other episodes where, like, they never use the N-word, which, like, makes me happy because, like, they don't come across. Like, I know they don't have to say it. And I've seen movies where, like, like Django, like the N-word is used, like, so much. And it was like, yeah, I get it. It is them around slavery. It's like, but it is also this white director who wrote this, like, there's like this gray bit to it.
There are weird elements to that.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so I just had to write that down. I was like, holy shit, like, this got so real. And then the very next episode, like, everything's like back to, like, super chill times. Tom's just like,
story, man.
Tom's just like, I think he sees Jim, and he's like, hey, what's up? And like Jim, I think what's he doing? They're trying to give him a haircut, and Jim's like, hide in my cabin, I got you. And then, like, I was like, okay, cool. Like, they're bros. They're still friends. They respect each other. Season 4, episode 1 then starts with a murder. Tom and Huckleberry Finn witness someone murder someone else, and I was like,
why?
Oh my god!
What the fuck is this show?
Yeah, they kill. So they sneak out at night. They're at a graveyard, and there's 2 people. One's the town drunk, and one's like the town villain. His name's Injun Joe. They're there with the doctor, and I guess the doctor was, like, taking bodies out of the graveyard and, like, not experimenting in them, like, dissecting them to learn more about anatomy and stuff like that,
Which is the thing that actually happened, yeah.
Yeah. Which is true, but, like, it's also very frowned upon, so no one, you keep it hush-hush. So in the graveyard, the town drunk and Injun Joe decide that, hey, we want more money, from you for doing this job. And he's like, no, it leads to, like, a physical altercation. And the drunk guy gets knocked out, and then the other guy decides to kill him. And when the drunk guy wakes up, he's like, you killed him. It's like, you drank too much, blacked out, you murdered him. And Tom and Huck see it, and then, like, they promise not the same thing because they're scared that, like, if they find out that, like, that guy's going to kill him instead. And so then they're dealing with the guilt. That poor drunk guy, he gets put on trial. He's going to be hung. Tom speaks up, saves the day or whatever. And I was like, God, this fucking show, like, you go from, like, having a chill time to, like, being super intense and, like, oh, fucking Christ, like, what are you doing? And then lastly, it finally got to the last 4 episodes of season 4. And the last, not the last one, but the 3 before the last are the 3 last bits that are actually played in the movie that I grew up watching. So I was like, cool. So it felt good to, like, oh, great.
You got, like, a tiny taste of what you used to enjoy. Yeah.
What I did. And then I got a tiny taste of the actual ending of the series. Like, there's one more episode afterwards, and I was like, oh, nice. And I was wondering, like, why didn't they play that one? Because the way that ends is they go back into, like, the cavern that Tom was lost in, and, the bad guy had died, but he had found the gold that he had buried there. So they're like, so they find the gold, they're going to be rich. They're taking it back to their rowboat, and then, like, the last line is just like, no one told you that being rich is, like, so much work, because, like, they're having to carry this huge bag of gold or whatever. And that's where that movie ended. And to my knowledge, that's how it always ended. But then the very next episode is, like, them showing, his Aunt Polly the money and being like, what are we going to do with it? They had to, like, go to the lawyer, like, the court, and be like, the lawyer's just like, cool, we get to split even. Huckleberry Finn has to be adopted by some widow in town who's already really rich, because, like, hey, you can't have all this money as a minor. You had to have someone who's going to take care of it for you until you're of age. He's like, and if, your dad comes around, he can claim it, and your dad's a drunk and we don't like him, but he's technically your father. So he gets adopted by the widow Douglas. And it's a different episode where like we see like Huck is now trying to conform to being like a proper gentleman. Like he's wearing clothes, he's got a haircut, he's living in a house, he's eating with a fork and knife. And like usually throughout the entire series, like Huck goes over to Tom's house and like will get his attention, and he comes outside and they kind of talk. But in this episode, Tom goes to Huck's house and like they both talking outside, and Huck has like a really like emotional moment where he's like, I can't do this. Like, this isn't who I am. Like, I just want to be like out in, the woods, living by myself. Like, I'm not this person or whatever. And like, he's crying, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad this wasn't a part of the movie that I watched when I was a child. Cause this is like, it's like really sad. Cause like everything should be solved, right? He's rich, he has all this money, but he's not.
Well, he doesn't solve everything, man.
Yeah, but he's not who he doesn't feel true to who he is. And I was like, that sucks. And he's telling Tom like, hey, you take my half the money, and then I'll just go back to living in the woods. And then whenever I need money, you can just kind of give it to me, and then I'll buy stuff for food. That way you can be twice as rich. And Tom's like, no, man, like you grow up, you suck it up. Like, this is life. You got to get used to it. Like, and he's just like, all right. So then like the show ends with them going back to school. They have a new teacher, and like Huckleberry Finn's in school with them. And, there's like a flashback to like this, he's narrating again, like, this is where we started, and there's like stuff in the middle, and all this stuff happened. He's like, and I was like, it's over. Like it ended. I was like, shit. And then the show does something where it's like, he's like, oh, Huck keeps doing this. And he's like, but that's a story for another day. Cause I know that there's a sequel, right, to Tom Sawyer, the sequel to Tom Sawyer's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And I was like, did they make a series of that? And to my knowledge, they didn't. I looked real quickly. I was like, cause like I just finished 49 episodes of this. Like, would I really want to continue to watch more of this stuff? I was like, I really enjoyed it. I think it was like, at times, for the most part, it was very nostalgic. And I was like, this is like something that like is chill to watch. I don't have to think too much. The animation is amazing. The animation improved a lot by the 4th season. It's still not good, but I can see like, oh man, they for sure made the effort to improve what they were doing. And it all got done in 1 year. Like, it wasn't like this was over a span of several, of a lot of time. So it's kind of cool to see that like they did.
Yeah, they were able to churning out anime so fast.
Yeah, and it did get better over time. I don't know. This is weird. This is a weird show that it's for sure not for like everyone. It's very niche, but I really enjoyed watching it. And all the really fucked up episodes aside, like this is something that like I'd be down to like show whatever the kids I have in the future. Like, hey, check out this movie that I watched when I was a kid. It's like that Thumbelina thing where it's like, it's not. I'm not doing it because it's amazing. I'm doing it because I want you to understand where I came from and what I watched when I was young. So that was the 1980 anime, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. For like, anybody who cares. You grew up in
the 80s and watched this? No,
I watched this in like I was probably 1998, 99. Like that's like
why?
No, it was probably the year 2000. It was probably around that time when I watched this a bunch. I don't know. It's kind of crazy that it came back into my life. So
it's weird how stuff weaves its way in like that. Wild, dude. All right. Well, I finished Non Biori. I don't think I talked about that exactly. I did mention that I was watching it and finishing it up. There were only a few episodes left, and I'm really excited about the 3rd season. Turns out that we haven't had an anime like that in a long time. Just a fun little slice of life that's lighthearted and ridiculous. Like when we watched Non Biori on the podcast, I feel like there were things that were airing those seasons, and we also watched like Mitsuboshi Colors and stuff like that. So we had a lot of shows that were this like ridiculous slice of life group of friends. It was really nice to get a little taste of that for a minute. And now that is what I want to watch this season. Whatever the hell can make me feel like, oh, this is a fun little slice of life. I'm into that.
Mm-hmm. Can I interest you in the 1980 anime of Adventures of Tom Sawyer?
I'll think about it.
All right. You're not fooling, right? You're being honest.
I just don't see myself enjoying it. But like, hey, man, if you...
I recommend it that highly. It's fine.
I think it's worth it.
I do want to watch more Non-Namburi. I know that that first season, I think I watched all of the first season.
Yeah.
And then you told me about how the second season worked, and you have to at least watch this one episode because it had the weird ruler fight,
Yeah.
you know. And
Which was way over the top. It's so funny.
Because I was upset about the whole like it doesn't really continue. It's like a weird, continue like a side quel kind of thing.
Yeah,
and,
it's essentially like each season is the group of friends, their journey through the school year, and just like every slice of life anime there is. But then the twist is the next season is that same school year on different days
that we didn't get to see.
Yeah. So it starts out and like, you know, the first episode that we see of the show, you know that this girl's new and like she's just learning everything. And then you come into the second season and she's still new, but like it's a different day where they're teaching her shit that you already knew about. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yes.
I really liked it.
So, and I think it was your snap of like her riding her bicycle and she's just like, vroom. I was like, God, maybe I should watch this show. This show is funny.
Dude, it was so fucking dumb. Because she's on training wheels in that scene. She's like, just like on her stupid bicycle. And then somebody's passing by her really slow too. So it just shows how slow she's going on it. And oh man, it's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, the Tanuki bit will always get me. And the That's Life from the Country will always fucking kill me. Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm super glad. And that new season comes out this season?
I want to say it's January 2021 when like all that really good shit's coming out.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Maybe I'll get around to watching season 2 so I can watch season 3.
I think, you know what? It's something that I felt like was lacking in anime in my life. You might feel the same way right now. Because like we're also coming off of a very underwhelming season of anime. And going into the next season, I don't know if we're going to have anything like that. We haven't watched all the shows yet, clearly. But that's something that it felt so right for me to start watching it. But I didn't know it until I started again. So, highly recommend it. Check it out, dude. Check out season 2. See if it's the right time for you.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah. Because, I mean, every once in a while, like, I've had a lot of dark, fucked up stories. I've been watching a bunch of dark shit lately. So, now I'm going through, I just need, like, super fun, bouncy, bubbly, good times, you know?
Yeah, I could watch that, or I could watch Hell's Kitchen.
Ooh. I used to be really into Hell's Kitchen.
Fucking donut.
For, like, 4 seasons or something. Donut?
Yeah. Yeah, he calls people like dumb donuts.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I've maybe my phone's listening to me, but I've been waking up and like I'll scroll through Facebook and everything is just like, hey, here's a video of like the best of Gordon Ramsay yelling at people, and I go, yeah, I can watch 20 minutes of this. Yeah, nice, cool, man. Anything else?
No, that's all the anime, dude.
All right, dude, let's fucking do the thing where we talk about the news.
Okay, let's get into the news. I don't have a whole lot this week because, as you know, the beginning of anime seasons, news is pretty dry, dude. That's how I like my games, not my news. So, Ascendance of a Bookworm is receiving a 3rd cour. Who'd have thunk?
Boo, that show sucks. We don't like it.
A lot of people say that this this story arc is their like favorite part of the show. And we just got to see like a weird ass Pegasus battle. So
yeah, do you remember? Is this a manga or a light novel? It's one of those two, right?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. I'm pretty sure it's a light novel.
Okay, that's cool. It's good. I'm glad we're getting a 3rd season of a good show. So that's always great.
Super stoked about that. But I'm honestly way more stoked about Haikyu To The Top. The 2nd cour is going to begin in October. We're only a few months away, dude.
Oh, dude, I can't wait for that. That's because this is the last season, right?
Yeah,
the most recent season. This last season. It's still over the top, right? It just got cut in half. Is that what kind of?
I don't know if it's the last season or not. What I do know is that the manga just finished up recently.
Yes, I did hear that. Yeah, I did see that the manga did get announced that the next chapter will be the last chapter.
Yeah.
But I was asking, this last Haikyu that we watched, that was over the top, right? That's what it was called also?
To the top, yeah.
To the top. Okay, cool. So, yeah, man, I'm excited. Haikyuu's fucking dope. I feel like we haven't... I don't know. I feel like I haven't been pumped for like a sports anime in a while like that.
Yeah, like there are different feelings. Like I was saying with No Non Biori, like I hadn't had one of those in a while that just felt like fun, goofing off times versus like cute girls doing cute things is its own kind of genre. And No Non Biori kind of falls in that, but it's a little bit more goofy. So yeah, I haven't had that hype ass sports time in a while too. Like Bungo Stray Dogs and Haikyu hit those same kind of like groups of people doing dope shit for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
It's been a while.
October cannot come any sooner.
True that. ReZero fans are going to be stoked that season 2 is 25 episodes long.
Wow, bro.
Yeah.
That's a lot of anime.
Yeah, which you are definitely going to watch.
Someday, yeah, I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
I do want to watch ReZero. I don't think I ever gave it a fair shot. I think I maybe saw less than the first episode.
I gave it a fair shot with the re-edit, the like director's cut, whatever the fuck they. I don't know. Yeah, I gave it a fair shot.
Yeah, man. If it's not for you, it's not for you. I'd still like to give it a go and see.
I
what
want
think.
you to. I think that if I watched it a little bit more, the story would change again, and I still wouldn't care. But I would like to know your genuine opinions after like a few episodes of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, a few episodes is in they're each an hour long. So
which is I can watch a couple of those.
Yeah. I watched like almost a full season of it essentially. So
yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, last piece of news, HBO Max has added Death Note, Hunter x Hunter, Food Wars, and Tower of God. So they are going for the big stuff, dude. Yeah.
Bro, they got Tower of God already?
Tower of God already. Yeah,
Holy
HBO
shit.
isn't fucking around, dude. HBO, this is TV or whatever.
Home box office. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, but like they had a like it's not TV, it's HBO. You remember that slogan? Yeah.
Yeah. Don't talk to me like before. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, don't talk to me until I had my HBO.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool, man. I think that's good that they're going for obviously popular shows. I know I think they have the Ghibli stuff, or is that only in Japan?
No. They have it. Netflix is weird in different countries, but Netflix has Ghibli stuff in a lot of countries. So yeah, HBO's fucking crushing it right now. They got that good shit.
Good for them, man. Well, it's cool that they pick up stuff. It's cool that anime is getting like more props and like you get picked up by other things.
For real.
Yeah.
I would like to know if they have different subtitles or like what their situation is, because watching stuff on Crunchyroll versus Funimation versus High Dive versus Amazon, like all that shit, you have a different set of subtitles to watch. I fucking hate Amazon's. Amazon sucks. It pretends like it has a lot of customizability, but it doesn't. I really like High Dives on the computer. I feel like it's fucking great on the computer, but on the phone browser or in app, no, totally
sucks ass.
Crunchyroll does a pretty good job. Their subtitles tend to be like very clean, but then you get to like Netflix, not great. Hulu, not great. They're just Funimation's is okay, I think.
We can't even get the site to work.
Yeah, but you can't run the website. Anyways, yeah, I'm really curious what HBO's situation is. I wonder if they have like really clean looking things. If they have like one thing that always throws me back to when I used to, illegally watch anime, is fan subs would have like the lyrics of songs in English and Japanese, and it would sometimes even have like a little highlight to follow along with the lyrics and shit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so fan subs had like some really good shit like that. I'm wondering if HBO is going to put that much effort into it, because I feel like since it is HBO and they do have that whole like, hey, we're fucking better than everyone else, that whole thing, I feel like they could potentially have some really good subtitling.
I mean, you have HBO, you have the ability to check it out, so get on it. Get on it.
But I've already watched all of those shows.
Yeah, but just watch a little bit of it.
No, it means that I get to watch Food Wars is what I'm trying to say, because I only watched one episode. I only watched one fucking episode of Food Wars, and I feel like maybe I just need to go into it with an open mind. And yep.
Did you watch it with your shirt and pants off?
No, but
that's where you messed up.
I didn't eat anything worth exploding my clothes off of me. That's all I have to say about that. That's the news, man. Did you like it? Cool. Did you have a good time with it?
Yeah, so some solid news. Let's get into this week's topic, which is BNA.
Which stands for?
Brand New Aminal.
Yeah! It's made by the studio Trigger, who we're very familiar with from things like Kill la Kill, Promare, and Darling in the Franxx. Now, this show, it came out in Japan a minute ago. It came out in probably other countries a minute ago, too. But as Netflix in the U.S. likes to do, we gotta wait. We gotta wait until it's all out, baby. So we waited.
Sure did.
Was it worth the wait? That's the question that I have for you, Juan.
No, that's tough. I'm going to say, I came into this trying to be like, look, I just want to watch a show and I want to have a good time. That was like my mentality. Like, I don't want to think about it too much. I don't want to be like dissecting things too critically. I just want to watch a show and have a good time.
I would like hang on. Before you answer this, I would like to say that Trigger also did Little Witch Academia.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true.
And that's where I'm going to stand with this.
So the thing, what I'm trying to say is like, I was super stoked because there's a bunch of shows that get the Netflix treatment, which like we had to wait to get them, and we know they're out and we can't physically watch them because Netflix has a chokehold on them.
We just don't want to be illegal boys, man.
Yeah. So I like, for example, like Beastars, which is a great example, right? It has the same animal.
Beastars is the thing that most people are going to compare this to. Yeah, and I think it's totally fair if we do. Even though they're completely different stories, completely different animation style, they are animal worlds, so naturally people will compare them.
Yeah, so like I was super excited to see Beastars, and then when I watched it, I was like, oh my god, I'm super glad it's here. Yeah. I was excited. I was like, wow, what a great time.
And then by the time you were done,
I was done.
Still felt that way, honestly.
Yeah,
I was really happy.
Yeah, I was like, you know what?
You were so happy. You were like,
yeah,
I'm going to read the manga right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to see some more. How do I feel about BNA? After waiting and seeing, fucking it being hyped up, it finally being dropped. I know that it's Trigger. Was it worth the wait? No, I don't think so. Did I have a good time? Yeah. I enjoyed it for what it was.
But this was not.
Is it like an instant Trigger classic? I don't think so either. I think there's better Trigger things out there. But it goes to show you, like, you really liked. I mean, I liked it too. I'm not gonna lie. I did enjoy the My Hero Academia movies that came out before. No, not My Hero. The Little Witch Academia.
Okay,
before, right?
Thank you. And then, I'm lost now, but okay.
So like, I was like, I really liked those. And then when we found out that they were gonna do the TV series dropped on Netflix, I know that you were super excited because you're like,
oh, dude, fuck, those were such fun movies. I can't wait for this more fun show. You know?
And then we watched it, and if something felt off, something was just like, this doesn't feel right. And it's weird because, like, there's times where it's like, there's times where we're like pining or biting over like to watch some sort of show, and it just that wasn't it. Like, it was like, oh man, that would have been cool. It just didn't have the same feels as like the movies, right?
Oh,
like, and I feel like for the most part, I feel like Trigger does really good work, and I was like, I'm not saying this was a bad show. I'm just saying, was it the best show? No, that wasn't the best show.
No, but it looks fucking incredible. I loved the character designs. I loved the world. I loved the color palette. I loved so much about what they did. But what I didn't care about was the characters and the story, which sucked. So it's like the two most important things faced with like the amazing things in the background that I goddamn love, like the music and stuff, super good. Everything was incredible except for the two things that make a story worthwhile.
Yeah, I think I really liked the character designs the most. Like, most characters had two designs, maybe sometimes even three. But they had their human form and then their beastman form. So it was always cool to see, like, oh man, I can't wait to see what they look like when they're an animal. Or you'd be like, they could be an animal, like, I can't wait to see what they turn into when they're human. And like, wow, and like the connection between the two was like super fun. And again, the color palette was very Trigger. Like, it reminded me cool. of Promare. Like, when I remember seeing that and being like, wow, those fucking colors are gorgeous. and it gave me like Kill Kill vibes when we have the super dope stars. Trigger loves doing those stars.
I think something about this show is that you could take a screenshot at like nearly any moment and it'll be goddamn beautiful. You could set it as your desktop background. You could set it as your phone background. It has such good art that just stands up on its own, and it really made the world feel more full. Like, I didn't have a problem with the world at all. I thought that they did a pretty good job at telling us, like, yeah, man, so the way things are, there are beast people, there are beastmen, which also felt like a reference to Gurren Lagann, which the director had worked on. Just a fun little extra thing. And yeah, the beastmen are hated by regular people. So it seems like a very typical story of like, yeah, there's prejudice. We're going to like learn more about that. And we're going to fight prejudice because prejudice is bad. It felt like that's the way the story was going to go. That's kind of the way it is. Our main character, she is Beastman, and she can turn into a Tanuki. But what actually happened is she was a human, and then she turned into a Tanuki and couldn't get out of it, which is unlike anything that anyone's ever done before. You're either born a Beastman or you're not. So
you're a human.
Yeah. So she became a Beastman, and we get to slowly learn like how that happened as the show goes on. But she is trying really hard to find a way to turn back into a human, and she winds up going over to the Beastman Island. And do you remember the name of the city?
Anim something. I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, Anima City or something like that.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. Yeah.
So anyways, she heads over there and she's looking for any help that she could get to turn back into a human, and it's essentially her slowly learning about why being a beastman is rad as fuck, and that she can also like transform back and forth eventually. And if she wants to continue her life as a human or a beastman or what's going to go on. That's our main character's conflict, which is a pretty simple one overall. And then the story behind why she could turn into a beastman suddenly, that's the part that really falls flat and I just don't really give a fuck about. Then we have another character that is the protector of the whole city.
It's called Anima City.
Anima City, yeah. So, he watches over the city as like a vigilante Batman kind of thing, and he's just protecting from weird, fucked up, like extra things that's going on with weird gang stuff, or like
imagine like a mafia bit,
it's like a mafia type thing, like this whole city's corrupt, baby, you don't know it till you're in it. Yeah,
he keeps the peace. I didn't even see I guess there was a police force, but essentially he works pretty closely with like the mayor. And, there's a few people who know, like, that he's out there to fucking save the day. And he's obviously a very majestic looking wolf. So people are like, oh my God, what a badass. And I thought he was pretty badass.
He's pretty badass. And he's pretty hot, too, baby.
Pretty hot. We're not furries or anything, but,
honestly,
badass.
Netflix is just slowly just like being like, hey, guys, y'all want to be furries. You don't know it yet. We got you.
Then Netflix CEO is like, there's this untapped market that we fucking need to get into.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So BNA is, it has these really cool character designs, but then our main character is kind of lackluster. She doesn't know what she wants to be, so she doesn't feel like a really solid character, which is an issue. She does have a friend that has a little bit more character, but I don't really care about that either. And then our wolf guy, he essentially just like, the protector, he just wants to protect the city from everything bad.
And he hates humans. He's always like, fuck humans.
Very adamant, fuck humans. But he's just like, they all feel very one-dimensional is kind of how it is, right? They do feel
very one-notey.
Even the villain.
I'm not going to say, like, I'm not trying to say like these characters are bad characters. Like they all have like the making for being like good characters.
Yeah,
like I could see them.
They're a real good base.
They just weren't developed that much, and they weren't. I feel like they didn't get fleshed out all that greatly.
They just need a little bit more personality, because the thing with Trigger is Trigger oozes personality in its worlds and its animation and its character designs and stuff, and then you kind of need an extra thing to back that up. And I feel like Little Witch Academia has these characters that are all unique and interesting, and I want to see them interact with each other, but then the story really wasn't there. And this, it delivered pretty much the same experience, but they really pulled it back on the characters.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say like a good Kill la Kill, which is like a great show that Trigger did. Like they have these characters that I feel like were very well developed, even characters that weren't there for too long. Like people like even like side characters where like you can kind of learn who they are, you get to know them, and you care for them. Like you grow to care for them. In this show, I didn't really care for any of the characters. Like I understand the goal, like I understand what the main character wanted to do, and I understand her struggles. But at no point was this like, was I like, oh man, I really want you to stop being a Tanuki, or do I really? And I think the thing is, the reason I didn't care for her was because I was realizing before she was realizing. You like being a beastman, like you're enjoying this, like you're having a great time with people, and like you're developing different abilities.
In denial.
Yeah, she's like I was like I'm gonna cure this curse or condition or whatever. It's like she would call like an illness, It's like but you also like you had a great time playing baseball with some boys, and you flew with this fucking
baseball
giant bird.
Bears were amazing, by the way.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite to see. Like something like that. Like even though the show didn't have like the great most compelling story.
It had
or
fun
like
moments.
Yeah,
absolutely.
or the most interesting characters. I for sure had like found myself enjoying what I was watching. Like there's this episode where it's a baseball episode. She's a basketball player. She wants to play some sort of sport, and she gets like, hey, you want to play baseball? And in fucking this city, baseball is like super fucking eccentric, super wild. People are getting killed, or bombs are being thrown at them. It's like crazy. And I'm just like, wow, this feels like the most Trigger thing I've ever seen ever. And I'm having such a good time because she's like muscling up and powering, like fucking throwing the baseball. I'm like, that was such a fun episode. I hadn't seen a baseball episode in anime
in a long time.
In a very long time. Like especially like in new anime, we know that baseball episodes are like a huge trope thing. And I feel like this felt as like a fresh of breath air, even though it's something we've seen in the past. But it was unequivocally Trigger. Like it was for sure them, and it felt like them. And it was like, well, that's probably my favorite episode of the entire season. And then you kind of just keep going, and like the story just doesn't really develop. And I felt like my biggest issue with everything was like the ending really fell flat. Like I feel like they're building up to something very quickly at the very end, and then it's just like, oh, it's just done. It's just kind of over and ends.
Yep.
And I watched the very last episode last night, and I to be fair, I was kind of tired. I was like, cool, I only have to watch this one episode.
Doesn't matter.
I fell asleep, and I was like, fuck, because it was over. And I was like, oh man, I missed it. I was like, all right, I'll watch it again. So then I went back and I played it from what I remembered, and I fell asleep again. And I was like, God, I can't. And I did it. I think I fell asleep 3 times, and then I was like, I really want to go to bed, but I need to finish this. Like, force myself to watch it. I was like, and I'm watching it. I'm like, I'm waiting for like the giant climax. I'm waiting for there to be some huge resolution, something amazing to happen.
There's a big fight.
Yeah, and the big fight was cool to see. Like, but it also ended very abruptly, very quickly. It was just like, oh, it just kind of ends, and then we just kind of cut to like this character. That's it, and you're kind of done. And I was like, huh, it's interesting. The show ends in a place where I feel like, yeah, they could do more BNA if they wanted to. They also don't have to touch this if they ever don't want to. And we know that, I'm pretty sure BNA is an original concept, right? So it's an original story. It's like, it's not based off anything. So it is I feel like very open-ended.
But I don't know. It also doesn't feel like it needs another season. But if we got another one, I would for sure check it out.
I think if
BNA was an easy watch.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the world was a lot of fun. Like we got to see some really wacky characters. We got to see some really cool designs. Like one of my favorite characters was I think he was a catcher for the Bears. Yeah. And he just kind of kept reoccurring, and he's just like this small, I don't know what he is. He's some sort of,
it's like a sun bear or some shit.
Some sort of bear, but he looked, I was like, what is his human form? And I'm like trying to see it, and I was like, and then he goes from his human form into an animal form. Like, oh my God, like your human form looks so much like an animal. And like he's very dumb. He's very cute. He's naive. I'm like, this character is a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying him.
I loved it. Yeah, the bears were by far my favorite characters to see. But that's because the show didn't take itself seriously at all times. And when it did take itself seriously, it didn't feel like I should care as much as it wants me to. And I feel like going back to Little Witch Academia, Little Witch had a story that was not interesting at all, but it was way less interesting than BNA. BNA wasn't interesting, but it was fine. It got the job done. It was just nothing that you're like, oh shit, dude, did you see this? This blew my mind. No, it gets the job done very well with the story for each episode, where Little Witch really struggled. I felt like it was so much slower. So it's cool seeing how Trigger's kind of developed this different style with crazy, unique new worlds where they can be over the top, and they're working on getting their stories together. And I could see in the future having a really solid story in this world would be awesome. But instead what we got is a Steven Universe, like, sped up style of, like, learning your powers, you know?
Yeah.
Where she's just thrown into a situation and then, oh, she could float. And then you're just like, okay. Oh, she could giant fist. All right. Yeah. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
she can fly.
Stuff.
She grows wings at a certain point. Yeah, no, it was fine. Like, I enjoyed watching it. I had a fun time watching it. I found myself, like, laughing and being very, like, really enjoyed by, like, what I was visually seeing. But it wasn't, like I said, the most compelling story. It was just simple, and so I didn't care for too many of the characters. I would recommend this to somebody, like, hey, you want to see a cool, like, a visually cool animated show?
It's totally worth checking out. It's just not one of those shows that's going to go down as, like, the best of all time. People are probably going to really like it for a little bit until we get something else that's similar to it but does a better job, which is why it's being compared to Beastars so much, is because we don't have a lot of anime out there with these animal people that have, like, real lives, and it treats everything seriously, and it's not like, oh, you know, animal people exist in this magical world. It's like, no, this is just like regular world, but animals are here. I don't know. So yeah, it was fun. Let's get into spoiler story stuff, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get into spoilers. So we're going to spoil it from now on. So I guess the part that I didn't like about the, like, getting flat or whatever was we see her, you know, having this, like, other friend that
I wanted to know about the other friend really bad.
Yeah, she's like, I'm missing a friend, because she ends up coming to Anima City because she's like, well, it's the only place I can be safe, and she wants to find her cure, but she doesn't seem to have any real, like, direction to find the cure. She kind of ends up in some wacky situations, like, I'm just happen to be here and running into the wolf guy. And then we finally get around to meeting her friend, and her friend, you know, has embodied, been a part of this cult, right? She's, like, pretending to be this white wolf savior, and we learn that she has the same abilities as her, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, she has a different animal body, but she has the same kind of abilities.
Yeah, she's able to change her body and be like, cool, I want to have cheetah legs or a wolf's face or whatever. Like, whatever. It's like, and we learn how they got to the way they are, which is essentially like an accidental blood transfusion, right? Yep. They get in a car accident and, like, they accidentally get, and
whoopsie daisy, the experimental blood got swapped with the regular blood because the hospital's doing weird experiments with the church that is going to be formed with the mafia.
Yeah, but I was just like, yo, like, in the flashback, I see one bag of blood that gets, you know, moved over or whatever. And it's like, they share the same blood bag or something? Like, it was weird. It just wasn't very clear. But she's got these new powers and stuff, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And we find out later that our homie, the wolf, is this wolf spirit that's protecting the actual white wolf spirit that's protecting the town, and that he's been alive for 1,000 years because his entire clan of wolves were murdered by humans, and all of their souls got stuck in him or something like that. And so now he has, like, this, like, collar that he removes, and he goes, like, Super Saiyan or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, cool, that makes sense. I had a feeling you were the white spirit because, you know, you're a white wolf.
And you were there in the first episode.
Yeah, we're the white. Yeah, people are like, oh my god, you're the white wolf. I was like, yeah. So it turns out that the dude that's, like, there to help the city actually isn't helping the city, right? You know, like, we try to take out the mayor. And the mayor, by the way, naked mole rat. I looked it up. That's what she is.
Okay, I was never sure. I was like, I don't know. Kind of looks like a hairless cat or like a weird goat.
What turns out that this guy who we think is a human the whole time is actually a beastman, but like an OG beastman, like a pure one. And I guess in this world, it was explained earlier that, like, when beastmans kind of hook up and say they're different animals, say like it's a wolf and like a tiger or something, like the baby will come out either wolf or tiger, and never gets both of them, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll be mixing their bloods. So those are mixed beastmen, right? well, anyways, this guy is a purebred policeman. He's like from a lineage of only these things, and he's like super powerful, and he kind of looks like a what was it, like a 3-headed god or whatever. He's like super, and he's a bad guy. And I was like, oh, of course he's the bad guy. I didn't expect him to be the bad guy like that. They get into a really quick scuffle.
Yeah, I mean, I expect him to be the bad guy because, you know, the church is always the bad guy in like everything ever, which is fine. Like, I understand why a lot of people want to like do this whole cult thing, which makes sense. But like, I don't know. It just felt like, okay, it's just going to be typical like anime trope shit.
Yeah, but they find out that our main character's blood, if a beastman consumes it, will kind of cure them of them going to this super raged out mode. Because I guess all beastmen are like super close to always just kind of going berserk.
If shit like goes too wrong for them, they will lose their mind.
Yeah, if they get like emotionally distressed, they just kind of go like OP, kind of like a la like any villain from One Punch Man. They just get super fucking jacked and destroy shit. So her blood's a cure, and they're trying to make an antidote because the bad guys made like drones that shoots darts of this stuff to make them monsters. Anyways, they're fighting. He's gonna, what was it? What was the turning point? Like the super strong bad guy was just like, I'm gonna beat you, and the wolf guy's just like, I'm gonna try harder. And he like shoots like a super beam at him, and then he puts his blood in his mouth or something like that, right? Like he's like, instead of killing him, he's like, I'll turn you back into your human form, which doesn't solve the problem. I don't understand. Like, I guess that he's no longer OG, like in his Super Saiyan mode or whatever, but he's still alive. He's still a bad guy. And it just kind of gets glossed over. Like, it's never explained that like, oh yeah, we arrested him or we killed him later or whatever. Just like, yeah, we got him. And then we kind of quickly see a little bit of like what the city's looking like. And, you know, our main girl's just like, I'm gonna play basketball. And that's just kind of it. Like, it just kind of, she's like, I'm happy to be a beastman. He's like, I know it can be turned back into human, but I'm kind of cool the way I am. I was like, yeah, I know you are, because like I've been watching the show and I can see that you've kind of really grown into this Tanuki character that you are. And you really like the fact that you can just be anything.
I'm not surprised. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it was supposed to be like, you know, really like revealing or like, oh my God, what a twist. Like, no, like I had a feeling that her choice would just be to stay. Cause like, or even earlier in the show, she's able to eventually kind of go back to her human form. She learned how to do it because no one ever taught her how to do it the first way. Right. So she figures out how to go back to her human form. She could technically go back home and be like, great, I'm human whenever I wanted to be, but she didn't. She's just like, oh, I'm still sick. It's like, no, you're not. You choose to be in this form, because even after she's turned back, she goes back to Tanuki form, and like it's very offhanded, being like, "Why are you still in your beastman mode?" And she's just like, it just feels more comfortable this way. I was like, so when you come at episode 12 and you're just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay here. I've kind of grown into being a beastman." I was like, "Yeah, I know. You told me like 6 episodes ago."
Very, very clear about that, dude. Yeah. And I wanted her and her friend to have more stuff going on. I thought that they might be a couple, and that might be like an extra tension point. Because Trigger's not afraid of gay shit. They're like way cool with it. But they didn't go that way, which is all good. But they didn't flesh out the friendship as much as I wanted them to. It just... Go ahead. I'm sorry. What I want to say was like at a certain point that like I thought that like her friend had been like brainwashed or something, because she's just like, because she was, you know, it felt when she speaks with the main character.
Yeah, when she speaks with the main character, she speaks, oh yeah, we're buddies and friends, and then she like flips a switch and it's just like, I'm back into like leader of this cult mode or whatever, you know?
And then as it goes on, her friend is like, sorry, I couldn't tell you that. There's a reason why. And then after like everything's revealed, she's like, man, I'm so glad I don't have to keep any secrets from you. And she's back to being like normal friends. And I'm like, dude, if you were normal friends, you should have told your homie that's also experiencing these crazy fucking things your whole deal, because she would probably goddamn support you.
Yeah, because you guys are boys.
Didn't believe their friendship was that strong at all, and that was a huge disappointment to me, man.
At one point, I had it feeling like she's going to be a bad guy. Like she's been brainwashed. She's evil. And it was like, oh, she's undercover. It's like, but it wasn't. I mean, I guess it's not supposed to be clear or whatever. But it didn't feel. I didn't buy it. Essentially, you know, I was just like, meh, I don't know about these choices.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole bit where like friend is going to go on stage because she's also a pop idol now. And she's going to sing her songs or whatever. And they've been told, don't do that. Some fucked up shit's going to happen. She's like, well, I'm going to do it. She's going to
confess.
Yeah.
She's going to confess that she's actually a human. And that's supposed to trigger all the Beastmen to be like, oh, no, we've been lied to. And kind of have them go berserk.
But the thing is, like, they had planned for everything. And instead of being like, hey, don't do that because this is going to happen, she was still going to go out and do that. And they're like, all right, it's fine. We're just going to make this plan. Where it's like, dude, you still could have told her, like, why? Like, I don't know why these characters aren't talking to each other about these very important situations that need to be handled, like, pronto. They just chilled. They're like, we'll take care of it in a secret way. And then their secret way got fucked over right away. So they're like, all right, we're going to do an elaborate other stupid thing in order to get her to not do that.
It's like the whole like, yeah, I'm a double agent. Well, I was a double agent.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like
why? Like, it would be a funny bit, but it felt like it was taking itself very seriously. So it wasn't a funny bit. It was just like weird, serious plot points. I don't know.
And it just felt like she was like she did say. I think she kind of like said something like, I just was trying to protect you, and like I didn't trust you too much to be like, I thought you'd fuck this up because you kind of fuck everything up because you're a dummy. And I was like, yeah, your friend is a dummy. But you need help, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, throw her a bone. It was that bit. I think the lack of relationship, the motives of the characters weren't super clear. And yeah, like I said, like the ending I feel like it just felt super flat. We're just like, not gonna lie, there was a dope fight between the two the wolf god things, but I was like, all right. And then it just kind of, it's over. Everything's okay. That's the end of the thing. And I don't know. It felt
the end just
anticlimactic.
Yeah, it really came out of nowhere and then it was over. Is the way that it felt.
Yeah.
Even though there was a lot of build up to it, the build up was like, it was a roller coaster, man. I didn't know where I was going with it. It felt like it was going to end in different ways a couple of times, and then the way that it ended, I never felt satisfied with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was an all right show. Like I said, when this all started, when we started talking about it, it looks really, really, really good. And
the music's amazing.
Yeah, the music's killer. The intro and outro are great. Like, every part of this show really did it for me, except for that overall story and character relationship thing and fully fleshed out characters, all that stuff. But, man, looking at it, listening to it, yeah.
It's still a good time though. Like I don't regret watching it. I think it's still fun to just check it out. Don't go into it hoping to, be super in love with it. I feel like there's better shows out there, but this was still like a really enjoyable moment in anime. I feel like I had a good time, and like I think I agree. I think if the second season were to come out of this, I'd watch it. Why not? Like I enjoyed watching the first one like visually, so at least I can be like, cool, it still looks pretty.
And it was so easy. It was just pop on and chill for a little bit.
Yeah, Trigger knows what they're doing, at least when it comes to like what they're presenting animation wise. Because I don't know, what was the last thing we saw that was Trigger? Was the last thing Promare? They haven't done shows since then, have they?
Maybe not.
I don't think so. Like I think that's the last thing that they've actually like dropped. I enjoyed Promare.
Yeah, Promare was so much fun. I loved it.
Studio Trigger. Let's see. I'm going to pull this up real quick.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up too. Dude, we're just a couple of pullers over here.
Okay, SSS Gridman.
I was like, there was something. We didn't watch that one. We didn't really care about that one.
Yeah, but let's see. Is Promare after that? That's what I want to
know. No, I think Gridman was after Promare. Because
Promare's 2019, and then SSS was 2018.
Oh, hey, what do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, so the last thing we watched was Promare. Yeah. Anyways, Trigger, keep doing what you're doing. I think you're on the right track to making another like amazing show,
which is going to be Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Remember?
Are they doing that too?
Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast at one point.
Yeah, they're also doing that SSSS Daigon Zeno or something like that, which is related to SSSS Gridman, which people really liked.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Dynazenon.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that was it. I think that's it for BNA. Check it out if you want to watch something that's cool visually. Good music, awesome character designs. Yeah, good time.
Good time. What are we talking about next week?
Are we doing Tokyo Sinks?
Yep, Tokyo Godfathers.
I'll do that. We already did it, but I'll do it again. Okay, cool.
Tokyo Sinks is going to be fun. It's on Netflix for those of you that do want to watch. It is sad. Be ready.
Yeah, be ready to cry it up. Okay, cool. So if you like our theme song, check out Tom Master on SoundCloud and YouTube. Trip, where can people find us?
You can find us on Facebook if you look up the Instagram podcast. Same thing goes for Instagram. Look up the Instagram podcast. If you want to tweet at us, tweet at Instant Ramen Pod.
Podcast Internet Fit.
And you can shoot us an email, instagrampodcast@gmail.com. Every week, we like to try to stream our episodes. So you could follow us on twitch.tv/Crispather just to, get a little bit of before and after. It's chill. It's a good chill sesh. Hang out with us,
Yeah. All right. Well, this is bye from Juan.
I'll see you around from Chris.
Hey, Trip, don't forget.
Just add hot water. Bye, everyone. I love you.
Bye.